Music mogul Sean Diddy Combs on suicide watch at Brooklyn's Metropolitan Detention Center after two judges denied his request for bail.
Diddy has been told he is going to ROT in prison, and he is not taking it well at all, with many reports coming out that he is going to take his own life the way Epstein did.
TMZ is reporting that due to his celebrity status and the allegations, this could bring unwanted attention from other inmates and be a threat to Diddy.
What we've been told by a former warden is he's a target. That's the fact of the matter, and that's why they have him in a solitary part of the jail, because they don't, he becomes a target because it's like what we've been told, it's like a badge of honor that if you were able to inflict some violence on Diddy, that gets you score points with other inmates. So that's the situation that obviously the jail officials do not want to happen.
Now we know Diddy is in so much trouble that he can't possibly escape this time.
Either the elite that conspired against him will take his life, or he will live out his life in prison. Both of those options don't appeal to him. And that's exactly why Gene Deal predicted Diddy would take his own life a while ago.
And spend your life and your time helping men like yourself. Once you take care of your business and get on your knees and beg for Ms. Wallace's forgiveness for putting the notorious Big in that situation that he lost his life.
But now, there are bombshells coming out about how Diddy was always a snitch.
How do you know that Diddy was an informant and they wanted you to go more into detail about it? Can you do that?
Well, see, if I'm in the car with Kirk Burrows and him and our driver, and we go down to 26 Federal Plaza, I know 26 Federal Plaza is the FBI office. All right? Now, what they went down there and what paperwork they took down there, I did not know until I found out later that he was working with an agent in DC, but he was arrested by an agent in New York. But I can't go into it, and the reason I can't go into it is because another individual found out this information and it's owed to him. But when Fox News and everybody say they can't find out who the agent is, that's bullshit. It's online. If you got certain systems that you could find out who the agent is, because we found out who the agent is, but it's not my story to tell. I would tell you that, brother, but it's not my story to tell. It belongs to somebody else, and they're going to see it come out. Puff was hit with a 40 rule because it's called a Rule 40, because he didn't show up at the agent's office in DC. The New York agent arrested him. He got adjudicated of all charges in January of 1999.
And how he is going to turn in big celebrity friends who were part of his horrifying crimes in order to get a better sentence.
Let's bring in criminal defense attorney Stacey Schneider. And Stacey, you say today's indictment reads like a mob indictment. What was most shocking to you of all these allegations?
Yeah, the fact, Jake, that the government in this indictment presented evidence alleging that Sean Combs was running a criminal enterprise, and they actually named it in the indictment, the Combs Enterprise. And they said that this enterprise consisted of him as the alleged leader, his employees, assistants, staff, allegedly, that were able to procure women and alleged male sex workers to engage in performances for his own sexual gratification. Where it differs from a mob indictment, it has all the elements of putting together this racketeering allegation of all these moving pieces using resources from his businesses. But the fact that this is about an allegation of sexual gratification being accomplished by alleged human trafficking, it's one of the most unique indictments I've ever seen in this area, in the area of sex crimes, because the government isn't actually prosecuting crimes other than the human trafficking or the sex trafficking. They're not prosecuting any type of alleged sexual to women, although that's part of this racketeering scheme.
Given that he's the sole defendant in this case and that you allege he's part of a conspiracy that involves members of his companies, do you anticipate a superseding indictment that bring allegations against other members of his companies or other co-conspirators as well?
I can't take anything off the table. Anything is possible. Our investigation is very active and ongoing. And I think a lot of you who cover this office know that when we say such things, that developments are certainly forced.
But how will the feds indict other celebrities by arresting Diddy? Well, the thing is, part of the evidence that was seized at Diddy's mansion were videotapes of his freak-off parties that he happened to record for blackmail purposes. Here's Gene Deal talking about how these tapes could be key evidence months ago.
Jay's speaking on it right now. He'll be one of the first dudes that they'll probably pull to the side and say, yo, well, you say that your man, I heard you on TMZ said that he never did this and he never did that, but ain't this you? If those pictures or those films or anything like that exists, you know what I'm saying? That's what they pay those agents to do. So, of course, I don't believe that none of the people who are his celebrity friends is going to speak or say nothing until they're either contacted or they know what they really got.
So you feel like they might be worried that they might be on tape at one of Diddy parties doing something they wasn't supposed to be doing?
That means big names like JayZ, Rick Ross, and Nas could all be under fire from prosecutors. But will they let him expose them?
Oh, man, listen here. All those ones who made it to the Diddy party, to the after party, and to the hotel lobby, they not going to ruin their brand. They not going to say nothing. Man, I was watching the other day. Listen to me. They did that. They on Channel 2 News here in New York. Gayle King and Nate and that other guy, they were talking about, they showed the him beating Cassie, and they showed him the apology in the whole 9 yards. All they said is that we have commentary about that, but we got to go to a commercial. They never came back and said nothing about it. I was like, yo, damn. He still got power like that? Somebody still like him like that? Because you know he was running with Oprah and them. He was running with that whole crew. Weinstein, Oprah, Epstein. He was running with that whole crew. They want to know how we're going to do it, how the public is going to take him. Is the public going to let him back in? And the public is not. The public is already canceling him.
Sean Diddy Combs has reportedly been placed on suicide watch, sparking concern as he awaits trial in Brooklyn's Metropolitan Detention Center, MDC. The once powerful music mogul was arrested earlier this week on serious charges, including sex trafficking and racketeering. MDC has a reputation for being a tough place, and many are wondering what this means for Diddy as he faces his legal battles.
Diddy Combs has been denied bail in connection with the sex abuse and sex trafficking charges he faces. And as Les Trent reports, the music mogul who once traveled by private jet to all those mansions is now in a jail that is notorious for its bad living conditions.
Music mogul Sean Diddy Combs spent his first night behind bars inside a facility that is being called Hell on Earth. The Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn is notorious for its appalling living conditions and rampant violence. How bad is it inside this federal lockup? There have been 2 murders, 4 suicides, and numerous stabbings and lockdowns in recent years. It's so out of control inside that 4 federal judges are reportedly refusing to send any more prisoners here. Donald Trump's former fixer, Michael Cohen, spent a harrowing year in federal custody. He says for someone used to a life of luxury like Diddy, prison life is a severe shock.
You have a desk, you have a plastic chair, you have your bed with a 1.5-inch mattress, no pillow, and you also have a locker. So you basically have 3 feet by 5 feet to move around. So you have basic 15 square feet. It is a horrible, horrible place.
Diddy's lawyers were so eager to keep him out of jail, they offered his palatial $48 million home in Miami Beach and his private jets as bail. Today, they are even offering to restrict female visitors to his homes, except for his mother, daughters, and the mothers of his children if he is released. They told the judge the jail he was being sent to is dreadful, dirty, inhuman, and an ongoing tragedy.
Amid Diddy's ongoing legal drama, an old video of celebrities raving about his infamous parties has resurfaced on social media, sparking new conversations. In the clip, stars like Fat Joe and Nicole Richie talk about attending Diddy's legendary bashes, which were known for their exclusivity and wild nature.
About the searches of his residence, the guns, the cases of lubricant, and the videos. Where were they found amongst his residents? Were they all scattered around the houses in one place? I kind of wanted to just get a better picture of how that stuff was found.
Well, look, I think that some of the details that you're seeking are in the detention letter. So, for instance, some of the AR-15s, 2 of the 3 defaced AR-15s were found in his bedroom closet in Miami, broken down into parts, along with magazines, with ammunition loaded in them. So some of that detail is in the detention letter. Beyond that, I'm not going to be able to get into where other items were stored.
Though the celebs didn't spill any juicy details, Diddy's parties have long been rumored to be over the top, with only a list guests invited. These gatherings were once the talk of Hollywood, but with Diddy now facing criminal charges, those same events are being looked at with a lot more scrutiny.
The indictment alleges that Combs threatened and coerced victims to get them to participate in the freak-offs. He used the embarrassing and sensitive recordings he made of the freak-offs as collateral against the victims. And the indictment alleges that he maintained control over the victims in several ways, including by giving and threatening to take away financial support or housing, by promising them career opportunities, by monitoring their whereabouts, and even by dictating their physical appearance. Because of all of this, the indictment alleges that the victims did not believe they could refuse Combs without risking their security or facing more abuse. The indictment also alleges other acts of violence undertaken by Combs and others, including violence against witnesses to his kidnapping and arson. The indictment alleges that on more than one occasion, Combs carried or brandished firearms to intimidate and threaten victims and witnesses. Now, Combs did not do this all on his own. As I mentioned, Combs has been charged with RICO conspiracy. He used his business and employees of that business and other close associates to get his way. Those individuals allegedly included high-ranking supervisors in the business, personal assistants, security staff, and household staff. The indictment alleges that those individuals facilitated the freak-offs. They booked the hotel rooms and stocked them with the supplies, including drugs, baby oil, personal lubricant, extra linens, and lighting. When the hotel rooms got damaged, they helped clean it up. They arranged for victims and commercial workers to travel for the freak-offs, and they delivered large quantities of cash to Combs to pay for the commercial workers.
But they was going to let him walk. If he'd have probably had to, for that proffer agreement, they probably would have let him walk. If he had any information regarding Puff having sex with underage boys. That the feds asked him in 2011. In 2011, brother. So what did the feds know? Because the feds not coming there unless somebody made a report or somebody made some allegations against Puff. in 2011 to ask a friend of his, Jimmy Henchman, what do you know about that? But for them to ask him about that, it had to be more than a rumor. Somebody made a complaint somewhere. And the feds got hold to that complaint. Now they're going to investigate that complaint when they get people under the barrel. He gave it to their lawyer. Their lawyer then sent them to the DA's office, and those people testified against Sean. They had the same charges. So they separated lawyers. They had separate lawyers, and everything went on Sean because Diddy found the witness against Sean and brought him forward. So I guess that's how you do your man when you don't want to go to jail. That's what happened, bro. Sean said it in the whole interview. On that documentary that Sean did from jail, he spoke about that. But he forgave him.
Something about a Diddy party right now, but I don't know the rules of the game if I'm allowed to say it.
Say it. You'll be okay.
One of my boys, a social media influencer, this was early, back in like 2018.
What's one of your boys?
I'm not gonna expose him because he said some Bible shit, but he was at a Diddy party and they invited him to Diddy's room. He walks in, Trey Songz was sitting on Diddy's lap making out with him, and they asked him if he wanted to join.
What the
Gotta be ain't no way.
They're all undercover gangs. I promise you that.
It certainly feels like the snowball has only just started rolling for Diddy, and there's no telling who's going to get caught up in the avalanche that is going to follow. Who do you think is getting exposed next? Let us know in the comments.